Welcome everybody to another edition of Sports Clash Radio. I'm your host Chad Martin along with JC Martin, and we're talking NFL. It's week 7. It's already been a very interesting first 6 weeks of this season. Lots of drama. I don't know how you ask for any more drama really to a season than what we're getting this season. From quarterback controversies to love affair with kicking nets. I mean, it pretty much has it all. So we'll see where it goes, but we're going to hit on some top stories that are just really coming out today. And as I say today, it's Wednesday when we're actually recording this podcast. So let's talk about the Roethlisberger injury. I mean, Pittsburgh had high hopes, are rolling right along.
They had just gotten Le'Veon Bell back, and really at the beginning of this game against the Dolphins, the Steelers were looking sharp.
Yeah.
And of course, things had started to kind of go Miami's way leading up to the injury. But man, when Ben went down, it kind of took all the wind out of the sails for the Steelers. And Ben actually ended up coming back and finishing the game just because that's the kind of player he is.
Yeah, he's tough as nails now. There's no question the guy's toughness.
He's got a torn meniscus, so he had surgery Monday to repair the meniscus in his left knee. And they're saying he's out somewhere between 4 and 6 weeks. It's possible that he could come back into, but I really don't think that's going to be likely.
Yeah, well, the good thing for him is they're saying when they went in there and looked at it, it wasn't near as bad as they feared it was.
Right.
So it was basically just a cleanup job to go in there and just trim all the excess crap that was around it and pretty much let it heal on its own, which he'll be in rehab probably first thing tomorrow. I mean, it was probably in there yesterday, Tuesday. So usually on something like that, they put you right into rehab, and those guys will get going. He'll be back for you.
I mean, you got to think, though, at his age, because he was in that draft class with Phillip Rivers and Eli Manning.
Yeah.
At his age, is it realistic to expect him to come back in 2 weeks?
I think so. He's still, I mean, really, and we say that because he's, 36?
36, 37?
Something like that. But he's still relatively young. He'll be able to come back pretty good. His body's still be in good shape. But some big news today. Niles Davis got traded to Green Bay. Right. After what happened to Green Bay at Lambeau Field this weekend with Dallas coming into town, and they were down to one running back, an injured running back at that, who's having all kinds of ankle problems. They had to use a wide receiver as a running back.
Which Ty Montgomery, I thought he was fantastic.
He played
playing
well.
That running back, playing wide receiver. I mean, he's just an ultimate weapon. He's like a bigger, faster, maybe not faster, but he is a bigger, stronger Dexter McCluster.
Yeah, that's probably a good analogy right there for him, but a good comparison. But I think this Niles Davis trade is going to be helpful for Green Bay, especially if you get some of these guys back.
I mean, it's good to get an extra body in there, but essentially what they traded for was the 4th-string Kansas City Chief running back.
Yeah, who's had moments of brilliance in his career,
but mostly as a kick returner.
Exactly.
His success at the actual running back position has not been that great.
No, it's been limited. It's been spotty.
I mean, he was behind Jamal Charles, of course, because, I mean, when Jamal Charles is healthy, he's just that good.
And he's back.
Right, and then, but he's on that limited snap count, but Spencer Ware has really showed out this year. You also have Kendrick West taking that 3rd running back spot, so it left Niles Davis as the odd man out, and it made him expendable.
Well, it became a really easy decision for Kansas City to go. Yeah, so I didn't really look into what Green Bay had to give up. I'm sure it probably wasn't.
It's probably a late round draft pick.
Yeah, very late. But, Green Bay needs all the help they can get right now. They are just in such bad shape when it comes to the running back situation. So we'll see what happens there, but they've got a lot to correct in Green Bay. Dak Prescott, I thought, had a pretty great response because he's been, outside of the whole quarterback controversy, he always gets asked, what are your plans? And they're trying. It seems like the press sometimes is trying to get these young rookies to.
They're trying to bait them into They're trying to bait these young kids who haven't been in the spotlight this much, and trying to pressure them into these positions to kind of put themselves in a spot to where the media can then say, "Oh, look at this guy!
Exactly.
Look what he's doing."
But Dak has been so impressive in how he's handled the media. So for those of you guys who don't know, of course this is Dallas's bye week. So he was asked, what are you going to do this week? Because he's gotten all kinds of sponsors, people wanting him to come do commercials, wanting him to go out of the country and do things. And his response is, I'm not doing any of that. I'm going home, spend time with my grandmother, and I'm going fishing.
All right, and this comes on the heels of a report stating that several weeks back, Dak was actually offered free tickets to a Kanye West concert and actually turned them down. And his reasoning why was, I love my sleep.
That's it. You got to get ready. He read the playbook and then...
But I think it speaks volumes to the kind of character that Dak Prescott has. I think he's handled so many of these media questions and interviews with the same poise and maturity that he plays with out on the field.
That's right.
Because I think he's 23 years old, and he just appears like as though he has more wisdom than what his age would indicate.
Yeah, exactly. So I love that. I love how he approaches that whole issue. Odell Beckham Jr. apparently has a hip injury or something like that today. I don't know if it's because of his moments with the net. Who knows? But that came out today, how he has a hip injury.
And people give Odell Beckham a lot of crap. But the one thing you cannot say about him is that he's not entertaining.
He is certainly that.
Some of it is him seeking the attention, and some of it is past moments that he's had on the field that the cameras now... you watch any Giants game, if Odell Beckham's not on the field and the camera... and there's no play actually going on the field, there's a camera on the sidelines on Odell Beckham.
They're waiting to capture something.
Always.
At this point, they're trying their best to. So... and a guy with all the talent in the world, I think it's going to be one of those things as he matures, because he's still a young guy.
Right.
As he matures, I think you'll see some of that go away. I hope you do, because he's got so much talent. It's ridiculous.
Right, and I was lucky to see him his last year at LSU. I went to an Ole Miss LSU game. It was in Oxford, Mississippi, down at Vaught Hemingway Stadium. And, of course, that LSU offense, you had Zach Mettenberger at quarterback. If memory serves, it may have been Spencer Ware at running back. And then you had Odell Beckham at one wide receiver, Jarvis Landry at the other. And coming into this game, the only thing I could think was, man, how is LSU going to stop Jarvis Landry? Because that's who everyone was talking about. Jarvis Landry this, Jarvis Landry that. Jarvis Landry is the weapon at Louisiana State University. And so, Ole Miss actually successfully shut down. Well, they kept Jarvis Landry in check.
Yeah.
I mean, he still had several catches. He had about 70, 80 yards. But Odell Beckham was the guy who actually ate up the majority of the receptions that night.
It's amazing. Just pure talent. So I'd like to see him get past some of these little crazy issues and stuff. And really, it needs to be team-focused and team-oriented and just worry about winning football games.
They've got to get that. If the Giants want to win this division, they have to get that offense on track.
Yeah, exactly. Let's talk about these upcoming games this week. My pick'em, I didn't do real bad last week in my pick'em. There's a couple of games that threw me off. I think it threw a lot of people off, honestly. But I didn't see Miami in the Pittsburgh game. I don't think anybody saw that.
That one just kind of blew me away with how it ended up playing out.
Yeah, so, hopefully it'll be a lot better this week. But here's the thing. It all starts tomorrow night with Bears-Packers. I mean, Thursday night football. And before, I knew how I would pick this game. But then it's like, well, crap, what is Packers really doing? I don't see them losing again at Lambeau Field, though, and I certainly don't see them losing to the Bears.
And I mean, the Bears they're terrible. I don't know if there's a way to sugarcoat it. They're the NFC's Cleveland Browns right now.
Yeah, exactly. So
you got to go with the Packers at Lambeau.
But and then you go.
But granted, I said that last week against the Cowboys, and we saw how that turned out.
Yeah, I swear. Giants Rams.
The Rams started off 3-1. They've since dropped the last two games, and I thought that 3-1 record after week 4 was. I thought it was a blessing in disguise for them. Maybe not a blessing in disguise. I think that's the wrong way to phrase it. I think it was indicative of false hope.
Yeah.
That the Rams are not as good as their record indicated at the time, and it's starting to show. And the explosion that Odell Beckham had this past week, yeah, he may be dealing with the hip injury, but I'll take a 70% Odell Beckham Jr. on the field over most wide receivers out there.
This game is played in London?
Right, it is.
That's where this
so
one's
it'll
at this
be
week?
kicking off at 8:30 in the morning American time, or what is it, Central Time that we have here for our
Central.
times? So the Giants-Rams, 8:30 Central Time here stateside, but I'm going with the Giants.
Giants. Yeah, I would agree. Saints Chiefs.
You know, I love the passion that Drew Brees plays this game with, but the fact is their secondary is suspect at best. And I mean, Alex Smith's not the greatest quarterback in the world, but he has enough weapons in that Chiefs offense, and Andy Reid always, for whatever reason, gets the best out of each and every player on his team.
But my concern, I guess, is defensively. They've had games where they've shined, and then they've had games where they've stunk. So, to me, it's all going to depend on which Chiefs defense shows up this week. I want to bet that it's going to be the good defense that shows
Right,
up. So
and-
I'm going to try, and they're playing in Kansas City. So
Which Arrowhead Stadium, and I can't even think of the name of the stadium there in Seattle.
yeah, I can't either.
But those are the two loudest
Reliance?
stadiums in the
No,
NFL.
Reliance in Houston, isn't it?
But this Chiefs secondary, has a lot of great young talent.
Yes, it does.
And we've really seen that with Peters and how he emerged and how well he played as a rookie. He's having a little bit of a sophomore slump right now, but I think he's going to get it turned around. And, a lot of fantasy experts are saying if you got Drew Brees on your team this week, probably want to set him on the bench.
Might not be a bad idea. We got Vikings Eagles.
I'm conflicted here.
I'm going Vikings.
Right.
That defense is
Everything
so
in me
solid.
wants to go with the Vikings on this, especially with the way that the Eagles look this past week.
But do you see Philly losing 3 in a row?
I mean, yeah, they could. They could possibly lose 3 in a row. I do think this Vikings team is probably the Eagles have a high-powered offense.
Yep.
The Vikings have a great defense, and I think this defense can shut down that Eagles offense. But I think, though, that this Eagles offense is capable of making the plays to beat the Vikings. I think the Vikings should be on upset alert, but I am picking the Vikings this week.
Yeah, I am too. Because to me, it's a matter of, and it's kind of like with some of these other teams. You get out to these, you get on these win streaks, but if you get on win streaks against garbage teams with garbage defenses, and then you play a real solid team with a solid defense and an offense who is steady. They may not be the best offense in the world, but they're steady offense and they're scoring points and getting the job done. That's a recipe for disaster. So I'm really picking the Vikings as well.
But don't forget, this Eagles team did straight beat down the Pittsburgh Steelers earlier this year.
They did, but that's the heckle and jive. I can't even.
The heckle and jive.
The heckle and jive. The Jekyll and Hyde thing that they have. So I just can't see that. Which Eagles team? Well, I'm talking about Pittsburgh really, because one week Pittsburgh dominates and then they just get blown out of the water.
It's kind of like when Pittsburgh goes on the road. It's like they leave their confidence back in Pittsburgh.
Exactly.
Even though the trip to Philly is not that far.
It was amazing to me that they got destroyed like they did. And, these last few weeks, obviously Philly hasn't looked good, and I thought Pittsburgh was strong. So it makes me question what I really think about Pittsburgh, to be honest with you. So we'll see. Colts, Titans. I'm actually going to go with the Titans in this one.
Right.
I'm just going to do it.
The Titans right now, Titans are the best team in the AFC South. And you can say whatever you want about the Texans and how much talent they have on their offense and their defense, but the fact is they got Brock Osweiler at the helm, and I'll take Marcus Mariota over Osweiler any day. He's overpaid to underperform.
Exactly. And it's to tell you how crazy the NFL is. He is up for one of their awards this week. I don't remember him having a shining game this weekend. Did I miss something in that game?
It was the comeback.
Is that what it was?
That's right.
That pushed him
because
over
going
the edge
into
right
the
there?
fourth quarter, they were down like 20-9 or 23-9 or something like that. And then in the fourth quarter, for whatever reason, that offense came alive and they put up the points to get the job done to steal the victory. Because that was one of the big things. A lot of the Houston Texans players watched as fans left Reliance Stadium.
Oh, yeah.
Just walked out on them. And then, of course, they mounted that comeback after. So maybe it was the fans leaving that really sparked
It could have been.
this comeback out of the Texans.
Because when I turned the game over, that was when the commentators were even talking about, the people who walked out of this game who just knew that it was over with, I hope they're listening on the radio. That was the comment on the broadcast. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know, but I'm not sold on that whole deal.
But going back to the Titans, Colts here, the Colts have one of the oldest defenses in the league.
Yes, they do.
And you got that many. Yes, you can have wily veteran players, but you have too many. You have too many wily veteran players. You got a slowed team.
Yeah, and I believe DeMarco Murray is just going to eat them alive.
DeMarco Murray is running like a man possessed, and he may not rack up the yardage, but he has a nose for the end zone. He can always catch out of the backfield.
I was about to say.
And he's a big, strong back who he's not going to. He's got decent agility, but he's not going to put a whole bunch of moves on you. He's going to make one cut, make a guy get out of position, then run through him.
Exactly. A very physical running back and not scared to take a hit and dish that stuff out.
So I'm rolling with the Titans in Nashville.
Bills, Dolphins.
Yeah, like we said, the Dolphins got the victory over Pittsburgh in Miami this week, but the Dolphins have looked hapless the majority of the season. I mean, they looked really bad against Cincinnati several weeks ago.
And the Bills have looked, shockingly, great these last few weeks.
And a lot of people, after that Jets game, I think it was week 2, where the Jets and the Bills both put up nearly 40 points or whatever it was. And then the Bills turn around, they fire their offensive coordinator.
And we were making fun of that whole thing. I was.
And so many people were questioning, well, why do you fire the offensive coordinator? Your defense just gave up X amount of points. But you know what? I don't think they've lost since.
They haven't. I mean, that's what I'm saying. They've been on an absolute roll.
They absolutely shut out New England, albeit without Tom Brady. But they shut out New England in Foxborough for the first time in a decade or something like that.
That was ridiculous.
I don't believe in this Bills team. I don't think they're going to make some big splash, and they're not going to make some crazy run in the playoffs and win the Super Bowl or anything like that. But they can get it done against the Dolphins.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think Shady McCoy left practice with a quad injury today.
He'll be fine.
Hamstring maybe, but
it's probably some tightness or something like that. Because after the game he had this past Sunday, I would have tightness in my leg too.
Yeah, probably so, because he ran crazy on them. Redskins and Lions. I'm actually going to go with Washington, I think, in this game.
I think Washington's the better team. I think Kirk Cousins, we're finally going to see his passing game get going because the Lions have one of the worst passing defenses in the entire league. But the thing is, yes, the Redskins have Josh Norman, and Josh Norman can shut down anyone. But I think the Lions have two really solid wide receivers between Marvin Jones Jr. and Golden Tate.
Yeah.
And so you can put one of them on Norman. The other one should be open because Breland, the other corner for Washington, is not that great. We've seen him struggle all season long.
But since that loss to the Cowboys, they've absolutely been rolling. They haven't lost.
They've won 4 in a row. They beat the Eagles.
Yep.
But at the same time, this Lions team beat those Eagles.
They did do that. So to me, again, though, with the Lions...
It's in Detroit.
My problem with the Lions is no consistency. It's the same thing it is with Pittsburgh. Really, it's up and down, up and down, up and down. Which team will play today? And you're just not sure. Right. And the one thing that it's all about the Lions' offense. Exactly. And to me, the Redskins have at least been consistent these last 4 weeks. They've been really consistent on what they're doing. Now, the Redskins, to me, might be setting themselves up for a huge loss this weekend, especially as much smack as they've been talking after their victory last weekend. Yeah, proclaiming themselves, how they're going to win the division and all that. Yeah, how they run the East and all of that good stuff. Right. So, and we'll see. And the Lions have had some bad losses because of some ineptitude, but that was kind of early in the season. They've won their last couple games now. I'm taking the Lions in Detroit. I'm going to take Redskins on the road and see and hope I'm wrong. Sorry, I'm not a Skins fan. I really want to root for the Lions, but I think it's going to be Redskins. Browns, Bengals. I think the moral of this story this season is whoever's playing the Browns, take them. Exactly. This week it's Cincinnati. And what's really sad is the Browns, it's not like they don't show up for the games. They've been fine. They've got a really young team. Close games. It is a complete rebuild in that whole thing. And they haven't made any, no bones about that. They've said from the outside, they got rid of everybody. It was a fire sale on all their, former players. They said, we're rebuilding this thing. They mortgaged everything. They've got all these new draft picks. They got a lot of draft picks coming up in the next draft too. So, if you're a Cleveland fan, and I think here is really to me the whole point behind that is it's going to be rough this year.
Right.
And probably next year. Next year will not be as bad as this year is. Because it really can't get much worse if you don't win a game. So I think you have reason to look up, because what they are trying to do is totally rebuild, and that is not an overnight thing. But we'll see. But what's going to happen is Bengals are going to win this game.
Cody Kessler has looked better than I think most people thought he would look taking over for this Browns team. Of course, the injuries to McCown and RG3 and Charlie Whitehurst, all getting hurt was what led to Cody Kessler really getting this time to shine. But he hasn't looked bad. Of course, he hasn't been great.
Yep.
But he's made some throws when he needed to. Of course, there's some throws that he hasn't quite gotten. But the thing that surprised me is Terrell Pryor.
Oh, yeah. He has transitioned so well.
Right. He came into the league as a quarterback. Of course, he was a really great, he was a great quarterback at Ohio State.
Yep.
Of course, got into some knucklehead issues off the field. Ended up leaving school early and going to the supplemental draft. But Terrell Pryor as an offensive weapon.
Oh, he's
because
good.
He's huge. He is a monster of a man. And then he's as big as he is, he's that fast, too.
That's right.
And he's really worked on his as a deep threat. Terrell Pryor can take the top off of a defense.
Yeah.
So, and you can also put him in the backfield as running back if you need to. You can actually put him behind center, maybe in a shotgun formation, wildcat type thing. Have him take some snaps.
Yeah, and honestly, the Cleveland Browns are a decent field goal kicker away from winning probably 3 of their games already this year. Honestly, they are. Because Parkey's missed so many field goals.
Well, that's why he got run out of Philly.
Insane right there. So they've been that close to actually winning some games. So keep your chins up.
I'm not putting that all on Parkey
there,
because you got an offense and a defense that's one has to put up points, the other one has to keep the other team from getting points.
That's true, but
granted, you have to get your job done when your number's called.
You do,
but at the same time, you can't put a guy who's on the field for 4 or 5 plays a game.
Well, my whole thing with that is what kind of kicker he is when you get him.
Right.
You've
seen what he did in Philadelphia.
Exactly. So you shouldn't be shocked. Raiders, Jaguars.
I'm going with the Raiders.
I've got to as well.
Blake Bortles has looked inept this season.
I'm so disappointed in that whole situation.
And since he's underperforming, then it's making Allen Robinson and Allen Hurns look bad just because they're not getting the ball. Bortles isn't getting the ball there, and maybe some of that's on the offensive line, and Bortles doesn't really have all the time to process the throws, but when he had the opportunities last year, Blake Bortles looked really good. We saw what these wide receivers could do. Allen Robinson had 1,400 yards. Allen Hurns had 10 touchdowns. So I think this Jaguars team has the talent to get it done, but it's not happening this week.
That's right. Ravens, Jets.
Baltimore's kind of been on a slump since starting the season off undefeated, but I think they kind of get it back on track against this Jets team.
Yeah, Geno Smith's now quarterback in the Jets.
And he has the worst touchdown to interception ratio since he came in the league back in 2013.
Exactly. Chargers, Falcons.
You can make the argument that Atlanta got robbed in Seattle. Richard Sherman obviously held Julio Jones' arms. It's not like it was blatantly obvious. The Falcons didn't get the call, but
Atlanta did have that game in hand at one point also.
And the Chargers have choked away a lot of games this season.
Yeah, I gotta believe Atlanta comes back.
Right, between Tevin Coleman, Devontae Freeman, and Julio Jones, and the Justin Hardy kid from East Carolina, he's had a few moments this year. Of course, one of his touchdowns was lucky. He caught a ricochet pass in the end zone. But it's hard to go against the Dirty Birds.
Here's going to be the most spectacular game of the weekend. Buccaneers and 49ers.
They're meeting in the toilet bowl this week.
Yes, they are.
But, give me famous Jameis.
There you go. Now, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, and I think Buccaneers will be the one that
famous Jameis over Colin Kaepernick.
There, exactly. Patriots, Steelers.
Steelers don't have Big Ben. Tom Brady's back in full swing for New England.
It's showing out.
Gronk's in full Gronk mode right now. You know what Martellus Bennett can do.
Yeah.
Julian Edelman's kind of been missing from this offense, but it doesn't even matter. You got Tom Terrific back there, and he can make things happen.
Then they're going to. Patriots, hands down. Seahawks, Cardinals.
Well, the Cardinals looked great the other night.
Shockingly so.
And I don't believe in the Seahawks team I mean, they're 4-1 now.
Yeah.
I don't think they're that good. I don't think they're a 4-1 team. But at the same time, I think the Cardinals have the talent to be a 4-1 team, and they're not a 4-1 team.
But they're another Jekyll and Hyde team. The Cardinals are another Jekyll and Hyde team. Which quarterback's going to show up today to throw the ball? Where is he going to throw it tonight? I mean, is it going to be his guys? Is it going to be the opposition? Are his running backs going to show up tonight? I mean, is the defense going to show up tonight? They showed out.
I mean, David Johnson is by far the best running back from that 2015 draft class.
Yeah, for sure.
He has put up far and away better rushing yards, touchdowns. Of course, it's coming on the heels of that 3-touchdown performance this week. I think David Johnson, he's hot right now. He's in rhythm. He's feeling the sway of the game.
Yeah.
He can feel that momentum, and when the time's right, it's his patience. Like when you talk about great running backs, whether it's Emmitt Smith, you can put Le'Veon Bell in that category. I think by this point he's earned the reputation as currently the best running back in the NFL. It's always that patience. He doesn't try to. If he sees an opening, he doesn't try to run through it. He waits for it to develop into a legitimate hole, and then he blasts through at full speed. David Johnson's capable of that same thing. And of course, the Seahawks defense is always going to be great, but it's that offense that gets me, because Russell Wilson's not going to put up great numbers. He could get touchdowns. He might get, almost 200 yards, a little over 200 yards. He'll matriculate the ball. Of course, we all know about his elusiveness and his ability to run and create plays. But his running back situation now, because Marshawn Lynch isn't back there.
Yep.
I mean, Christine Michaels looked good.
He has.
But at the end of the day, you're still Christine Michael. You haven't done enough in your career to make me rely on you dependently.
Yep. So, having said all that, Seahawks or Cardinals?
Give me the 12s. The 12s will invade Arizona and get the win.
Well, I don't know if we'll see the 12th or not, but I've got to go with Seahawks as well. Again, it goes back to I'm just not confident which Arizona team will show up this week. It just depends. Texans, Broncos, Monday night. I don't see the Broncos losing this game.
Right. The Broncos defense is too good to get beat by this Texans offense. And what I've noted, I think I made a note of this last week when we were discussing the Texans game, was that the Texans are really going as DeAndre Hopkins goes.
Yep.
DeAndre Hopkins can't get catches early and really can't get into the rhythm of the game. If the Broncos can stop him, they stop this offense. Yeah, Lamar Miller can run for 100 yards, but if they can't really make the defense look for the pass or make them respect the pass or play action or anything like that, then Brock Osweiler is going to have a long, frustrating night, Monday night.
Exactly. All right, guys. I think that's all of our picks for the week. That's all NFL stuff for the week. We do have another show we're going to do, a little brief show, because it's the hottest topic right now, and because it's Dak Prescott, Tony Romo, the media has made this the biggest circus outside of Big D that there is.
It's the Cowboys.
It is the Cowboys. If you have that star on your helmet, it might as well be a bullseye, because that's basically what's happening right now. And as many Romo haters as there are out there, they are jumping all over this and on the Prescott bandwagon.
Right.
If nothing more, just so they can be anti-Romo.
Get on Instagram or YouTube. It's actually made for a lot of really hilarious vines and memes.
Yeah, there's so many things, but we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're out of time for this show. If you want to follow us on our Patreon page. It's patreon.com/SportsClash. You can follow us on Facebook at Sports Clash Radio. You can follow us on Twitter at Sports Clash Rad. YouTube, all the links are down below the video.
Like the video. Subscribe to the channel.
Make comments. If you like what we say and agree with it, that's fine. Thumbs up. If you don't, hey, thumbs down. Tell us why you don't agree with it. If you agree, then tell us why. So we're fans just like you guys, so we're not anything special as far as having inside scoops on all this stuff. We're just longtime sports fans who love our football and love our sports, and that's the viewpoint that we're giving you guys. So we'll talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. See you soon.